So I'm not entirely certain, but I think this discussion is going to be called Varieties of Rhetorical Deception Part 2, and I don't know how many sections there will be. And what we're looking at is a film by Stan Brakhage called A Child's Garden and the Serious Sea, ostensibly from 1991. And what we're listening to, of course, is a piece of mine called Music for Even More Deeply Imagistic Dreams. And we're listening to that and not watching this in silence because it's my belief that watching this in silence is a little boring, if not considerably boring. And I guess ideally I would have done this discussion at nighttime where you can't see my image in the foreground of my re-recording of Stan Brakhage's, and I say Stan Brakhage's in quotation marks as
if you sleep on your side, I bet you can.
as you'll you'll come to understand in the course of the discussion, you know, why the Stan Brakhage is in quotation marks. I'm going to go ahead and skip this ad, which is interrupting the Stan Brakhage in quotation marks film, A Child's Garden and the Serious Sea. And the reason that, you know, that I say, you know, in quotation marks, and that, you know, that quotation mark proviso, you know, will become clear is because my understanding of this film is that it's actually a transfer, somehow a recording of what was initially a video, a student-made video, and I believe the title of that video, you know, made by either one of Stan Brakhage's students, or perhaps it was one of Fred Kamper's students, or perhaps someone else, another film instructor's, another, you know, perhaps, you know, Boulder or other film instructor student. I understand that this was originally made on video, and the title was The B.eer Garden, and for whatever reason, I don't know if I, you know, see the B.eer Garden in these images. I have a beer over here, and this beer is not you know, attempting to be promotional in any way, shape, or form, like the advertisement that interrupted our recording was obviously intended to be promotional. And I'm not one of those, you know, former, you know, film enthusiasts, aficionados, and in-crowd folks, you know, like Brian Fry, that, you know, like advertising, you know, the drinking of beer. But now I forget why I brought the beer. Oh, because the title of this film, you know, as I recall, was initially, you know, The B.eer Garden, and it was made on some kind of video. I'm not, you know, sure entirely of the history, if it was made on a cell phone in the manner that I make all of my videos. You know, you can't call them films because they're video recordings. But as I understand the project, you know, either Fred Kamper introduced the idea to Stan Brakhage, or Stan Brakhage introduced the idea to Fred Kamper, and or maybe Fred Kamper had nothing to do with it, and I'm just misremembering that, you know, information. If I get distracted by, you know, some of the imagery in the reflection, you know, that's just a a function of my distractibility, and I'm sure this re-recording of the beer garden video onto Super 8. Is it Super 8? Let me see if I can find some more information or some other kind of film stock. I'm not seeing in the comments if there's any more information regarding what gauge this is. I don't know. It mentions something about 20 minutes of television static at the end, and that can be ignored. But because as I was explaining that this is a recording onto film of a video, I'm not sure we really can ignore that 20 minutes of television static on the end, because it seems to be conceptually relevant to what's being made and created here. This part reminds me a little bit of some of the things that I've done with video. Of course, Brackage was doing it many years prior to my investigations, and that's what makes him the irrefutable genius that he is, and the silence, of course. Most of there are a few pieces that I've created that are silent, but not nearly enough, to call me a genius. I'm tempted to change the focus here, because that bookcase and the way that this is actually a oh no, here's another ad. We're gonna have to skip this. I'll go ahead and skip the ad if no one minds. Let's get back to that bookcase. It's not really a bookcase. It's we keep CDs in there, and if we had a copy of this piece, that I haven't really got into the whole history of it yet, but it's ostensibly authored by Stan Brakhage, but as I was explaining, really the only thing he did here was he took this student video work and he retitled it. It had been titled The Beer Garden, and he changed the title to A Child Garden and the Serious Sea, which sounds much more interesting than The Beer Garden. So the title is giving it some weight, and apparently, like, this was like part of a kind of an elaborate argument, for in favor of the. I'm getting kind of interested in the light from the blinds now, back there. This is also like I love these little swirly deals, especially because like the music in the background continues to go on, and yet we get stuck here in the visual image, and so the disjunction kind of comes across in a certain interesting way, and that's just lovely, the light from the blinds back there. You get full opulence to that. Okay, so we're running out of my music, and we're clearly not running out of film. So I'll go ahead and I'll replay that so that we don't get bored. Well, there we go. We seem to have gotten around the slowdown there. It's quite a blue film, isn't it? And again, like I don't conceptually understand the way that the imagery refers to the beer garden, it almost seems more like a child's garden and Serious C kind of imagery. But as I said, I have gotten interested in this case back here that we keep our videos in, and if we had this, you know, in quotation mark film, you know, because it was really just re-recorded onto Super 8 or whatever it is, and from the video, the original, you know, student work, we would keep it in that case back there. Now you can't really see it because of the green light in the foreground, but we'll wait. Okay, there it is. There's the case. We would keep it because we would have it on either, you know, DVD or, well, we don't have a VHS player anymore. I used to, you know, and sometimes when I was a film teacher, I would, you know, occasionally play things on VHS on one of those Proxima machines, you know, overhead. And then sometimes I would play, I would show film, but it was convenient to utilize the Proxima machine and show those transfers. Here we have just the opposite. And so I wanted really, like, that's a lot of like digressive, you know, discussion. But really what I wanted to talk about was the argument, you know, behind the re-recording of this piece, which I believe I've seen on Super 8, if in fact it was made on Super 8, or maybe it was some other film gauge. Oh, there you can see me speaking, and you can see like the synced sound, like that this is actually being recorded in real time, and I'm not faking any of it. It's kind of nice to be able to see that momentarily, the movement of my mouth. See if I can get back to that mouth, and so you can really see that I'm speaking. Can you see that the words that are coming out of my mouth are coming out in the time that I'm making the video? I think you can. All right, so enough of that. No one wants to see, you know, my face when they could be seeing, you know, the Brackage film or the re-recording of the student film. You know, I can't remember the name of the student who made this video work, the beer garden. But I met him in Milwaukee when I was acting in this piece that was being created by the filmmaker Jennifer Montgomery, called Threads of Belonging, and he was part of the film crew. And I don't remember, you know, whether he had been a student of Stan Brackage's or a student of Fred Camper. I wish I remembered all the details from that time so that I could, but I remember that he produced, or that he created, you know, using his, you know, this video camera, this film called The Beer Garden. And he wanted me to review it and put my review up on this listserv for avant-garde filmmakers, or sometimes people would say not avant-garde, but underground film or experimental film. Here's another ad, and I've been deleting the ads, but you know, maybe what I should just do is leave the ads in and imagine that they're part of Stan Brackage's refilming of the beer garden as a child's garden and the Serious C. I'm not really sure. As I say, I'm not really sure whether to leave the ads in or skip the ads. There's a lot of ads. There's an ad about dogs, helping the ASPCA give animals and I guess just animals the love they deserve, and food and care, apparently. Let's just go ahead and skip the ads. I don't think this really looks like a Stan Brackage kind of thing. But, okay, so this is back to the refilming of the Beer Garden as the Child's Garden and the Serious Sea, and weirdly, like the date that's assigned to this work on film is 1991, but I don't recall talking to the original maker of the video until let's see, what year would that have been? About 2002 or 2003 or something like that, 2002, 2003, around that time. So how Stan Brakhage managed, I guess that's just part of the rhetorical deception, the assignment of a date, much prior to the original, making of the video, and whenever it was made in the early 2000s, so this is given a date, 9 years prior to that, and I guess that's part of the strategy of misrepresentation, which is, misrepresentation is. There's one of my paintings. Let's see if I can zoom. I'm not sure if I can. I think I can zoom with this camera, so you can kind of like see some of the imagery from there. Okay, I'm going to zoom back out so that we can get back to the movie. I think the aesthetic is best on YouTube. So then what you have is you have a video re-recorded onto film, and then presented as a YouTube video. So kind of reproduced as video once again. So kind of double transformation. There's the beer again. Like that's I suppose reference to. Oh, that's kind of nice. We can do some interesting. Let me see if I can get some interesting stuff going on through the beer bottle. Yeah, that's not bad. So the beer, obviously is a reference to the original video, the Beer Garden. I'm sorry about the tapping sound. That's the camera hitting the beer bottle. I'll try to avoid doing that. Oh, I think I like it best. I like it, so I did see the original video version of the Beer Garden, and I didn't find it particularly impressive. And of course, I've seen the silent version of Stan Brakhage's remake, and again, like we're kind of deferring like the whole rationale for remaking it, but because I keep getting distracted with all these potential. Oops, there's another tap. Sorry about that. That's probably not considered good form in experimental film communities. Keep getting distracted by all these potential aesthetic characteristics, going on here, and what can be done, with these various overlays and filters, because in a way this is a filter. Oh, that's kind of nice. Well, I don't want to spill the beer though, because there's actually beer in here that I've been drinking, and if I spill it, I'll be sorry later. It would be interesting, in terms of the visual effect, but I'll probably be sorry later. So I'll put that down and get back to business. But the real business is explaining the history of why this was done, which is kind of like. Oh, and we're running out of music once again. So let me get back and. There we go. Back to the beginning of that track. Music for even more deeply imagistic dreams. So anyway, as I understand, and we're only 17 minutes into this film, which is I don't know, a bit repetitive, if I can say that. I mean, you're not supposed to say things like that about avant-garde film. Gods, I guess, like Stan Brakhage, but it seems repetitive to me. Maybe I'm just missing something, but I mean, a lot of my films are repetitive, so I shouldn't make that the basis for a aesthetic critique. And I just think when that does happen, it doesn't hurt to have a little music or verbal intervention going on to distract you from some of the repetition. There's my mouth again, so that you can see that we're actually in real time in a certain sense, right? Kind of interesting what you can do with the light here. But what I understand, like the rationale for making the film, for re-recording it onto Super 8 or 8 or whatever film stock that was re-recorded onto, was like to create an argument for the aesthetics of film over video. And oh look, there's some more stuff going on over here. And like either Fred Camper came to Brackage and proposed like this project that the results of which like as a kind of film experiment were going to be published on either Caesura magazine or Jump Cut or one of those hoity-toity film magazines. And the argument was going to be that like take a look at the beer garden and like see how uninteresting it is, and then take a look at my re-recording of it onto oh, Muscle Man. Here, this is obviously another. This isn't part of the beer garden or a child's garden in the Series C, but something else. Wow, it's really like a lot going on here. Oh, that's kind of interesting. I like that part. I don't know. The rest is very like queerly macho, but and like, I mean, that's kind of an understatement. Let's go ahead and skip that. I'm not sure if Fred would approve of this or not. I'm pretty sure Stan Brackage wouldn't. It's kind of an interesting like little queer interlude in a child's garden in the Series C. But let's go ahead and skip it and see if we can get back to the actual imagery here. All right, so what I understood, from different sources, including the original creator of the video, that I received a copy of, Bear Garden in 2002 or 2003 or perhaps 2004. I don't think it was as late as 2004. I think it was more like, maybe it was even 2001. I'm not sure. But what I understood was that Fred and Stan were putting together an argument that things were just better on film. Like even if you re-recorded video onto film stock, it was going to look a lot better. The aesthetics were more interesting, and you could elaborate the imagery in certain ways that you couldn't on video, and so this was the project. And then both the original video maker, whose name unfortunately I can't recall anymore, and Brackage presented their work to these various festivals. And the beer garden apparently didn't get in anywhere, and died quietly, the slow death of video or whatever, the end of the avant-garde, like the new young filmmakers or whatever. And but the Child's Garden and the Series C, like the re-recording. Oh, there's that beautiful light in the background again. I'm going to focus on reality. There's reality in the background. Okay, so but Stan's piece got into all these various festivals and exhibitions and supposedly that was supposed to demonstrate like how much better stuff even recorded from video back onto film looked than stuff recorded originally on video and left on video, or recorded from film to video. Like, that was the argument. There's an argument about like the advantages of film and certain kinds of gauges and stuff like that, and presentation in this particular media, right? And medium, and but no one stopped and said, well, I mean, like don't you recognize the fact that Brackage's name by 1991 carried a certain amount of clout with it, right? So like, and the name of this young man, I can't remember his name, but like, let's just say his name was Frank Pizza, which it wasn't Frank Pizza, but I'm just using that as an excuse, because I don't remember the real name of this young man. But nobody knew, Frank Pizza from the real or imaginary beer garden in the next town, and of course, in these in this avant-garde film community, everybody knew who Stan Brakhage was. So you don't think that the name itself carries like a certain amount of. Here's another beautiful image of the blinds over here, and the light coming through the blinds. You don't think the name itself carries a certain amount of weight? It might have something to do with why the piece was more successful. It has to be about the film stock and the gauge, and whether whether the sprocket holes are on both sides or one side of the film. But anyway, that was part of it. I think part of one of the factors that didn't come into the conceptualization of this particular experiment, right? And as I said, I actually prefer. I think the piece that I like the most is, minus perhaps the commercials, but minus the commercials, I think I like the way that it looks, retransferred, from the video into the film, back into video on YouTube, and but that's just me. I'm sure that there are arguments that many others make in favor of this particular experiment, and sort of justify its success as well. Here's an interesting passage from the film. Quite a bright, almost. Here's another commercial. I mean, it'd be interesting kind of to imagine that the commercial, like, now that I've turned off the volume on the commercials, we can imagine that they're discussions of the film experiment and the process. Since we're running out of music, I think I'll just I'll end it there.